Nick Bosa, the 49ers exercised their fifth-year option on him, so we know what he'll make in 2023, right? He's coming into his fourth year. You got to pick up the fifth-year option, $17.9 million in 2023 for Nick Bosa. This is one of the easier fifth-year options that has ever been picked up, so the Bosa brothers are the real reason for the supply chain shortages. Yes.
Trying to hide it, but it won't. Oh, there it goes.
This is one of the easier fifth-year options that have ever been picked up. When you look back, and I don't think people have forgotten this necessarily, but the 49ers, now part of it, they traded up last year, but they've drafted in the top 10 5 out of the last 6 years. They've been in the single digits drafting.
Jesus.
Right?
Right. I guess
DeForest,
Trey Lance thing.
Solomon Thomas, McGlinchey, Nick Bosa. 4 straight years they were in the top 10. 4 straight years they were in the single digits. And those were not like, they didn't trade up to 9 for McGlinchey. They won a coin toss. Nick, they were just sitting there at 2, right?
And Kyler went 1, so he kind of fell into their lap, right?
And he fell in their lap. Then you had the Kinlaw, Ayuk, DeForest Buckner trade draft, and then you trade up to 3 for Trey Lance. But
they didn't draft Buckner. I mean, they inherited him.
No, I'm just saying this franchise was drafted, and it's not always this easy. Is my point. Like, it's obvious now with Nick Bosa that you pick up the fifth-year option, but it's not. It doesn't always go this way for a variety of reasons. So
yeah, to me, he just, obviously the quarterbacks, because we've had a lot of sweet ones come to mind, right? Lamar's, Mahomes, Deshaun Watson in trouble, Herbert after next year are just like, do we really need to email the league this? Is this like, do we have to do? Of course, yeah, we got it. And then there are the position players that just become no-brainers immediately. Like a couple guys the last couple years, like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. They'll fall into the Bosa brother camp of just like, yeah, picked up, like, do you really
and underpaid,
and ultimately
picked up and underpaid
immediately. Like they're underpaid. Wouldn't you say halfway through their rookie season?
Yeah, like, I mean, Justin Jefferson is probably underpaid by $20 million.
There's a chance that, given how much these guys are making, and given he's probably still 2 years away from getting paid, non-quarterback, he might be the best deal in the league. Chase honestly might be there right too.
Yeah, given where the contract
he makes a little, but Justin Jefferson was picked 22, so Chase does make some money.
Yeah, I mean the fourth pick his total was probably what, $32 million, Jamar Chase.
I think ideally when you pick a player who is not a quarterback, because I think we judge quarterbacks a little bit differently, right? Like ultimately Trey Lance does not have to become Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen for it to be a really good pick, right? If he ultimately becomes like some version of Dak Prescott meets, obviously he's got a bigger arm, but like something like that, he's going to be the quarterback for a decade, right? I mean, ideally you want a top 5 quarterback, but if he ultimately is the 9th to 11th range, that's more than serviceable to keep winning, correct?
Yep.
Do you agree with that?
Yep.
Where I do think when you take non-position players really high, like you're looking for stars. And you're looking for DeForest Buckner for Nick Bosa. And I don't think he was lying at all. I thought it was very genuine when he said DeForest Buckner is the hardest thing he's had to do or been a part of since he's been the Niners GM. And it's something that I would imagine that's a learning spot where it's like when you have a great player, and he had to also kind of take their own side. Like, we'll see how this all plays out. You got Ayuk's part of this. And if Kinlaw comes back, like the story's not written, but I'm proud of him. Keep kicking ass for Indy. Like DeForest is winning that one right now, and Indy's winning that one. But it's not over. It's going to be come back. It's like 28-3 right now. It's going to be taking a comeback.
Like the Niners won the Mitchell Trubisky trade, but
ultimately, though, when you draft Nick Bosa, and same even if you
did they get Fred Warner in that draft with that pick? So maybe they did with the Bears pick.
That's a good question. Maybe they did because they didn't have many picks, right? So it was part of like adding it.
Fred Warner went 70. They got pick 67 in that trade, but maybe they moved back a few spots. I got to go back and look.
That makes that one. That's a huge win. But yeah, I mean, this is what you want to get: sweet players with your picks. I think McGlinchey is a good example of like they would want to do over on that. I'm pretty sure, like I saw on YouTube when we hopped on, McGlinchey was hopping in after John Lynch.
Well, somebody just said Fred Warner's talking about Debo.
Oh, that's why he's saying Nick Bosa's not there because there are guys there working out, right?
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, like the OTAs,
Oh,
the quote unquote phase, whatever it is, where like the coaches aren't on the field, guys are there working out and training and probably doing some meetings. So when he gets asked, where's Nick Bosa? Like Nick doesn't have to come. To me, where it's not that weird with Nick is he's probably your best player and no one questions like, oh, he's just sitting playing video games, eating ice cream. Like, that's not the deal. And I do think once they get on the field, he was there. No, he was rehabbing last year. It'll be interesting. Like OTAs, is he there? Like the true ones, the veteran one, he'll be there. But I'm just saying, like the other ones, and you could argue, does he need to be there? Because you would say that him and Joey and Pops, I'd say they got a pretty good idea what they're doing. Though, I guess the other thing with Nick is he's not a team captain leader type, right? He's not some rah-rah. He's just a sweet-ass player. He's kind of like their Klay Thompson. He doesn't say much, but he dominates, but he keeps quiet. Like Fred Warner, George, like you need your leaders there. But this gets back to, like, ultimately it's pro sports, like you're elite players. Like if Debo was not doing a trade request and wanted to train, they wouldn't have a big deal with it, right? Wouldn't be a big deal at all. You get special privileges, like in the private sector, the better you are. Trent Williams, if he doesn't want to show up, no one's going to.
Well, I've heard coaches say this, right? Like, treat all my players the same. Why? They're not all the same.
But wouldn't that work in any industry?
Yeah.
Like Al Michaels, Joe Buck don't get treated like, your run-of-the-mill broadcaster. Dwayne Kuiper gets different treatment than some major league broadcaster.
Yeah, I got to talk my way into a parking lot, right? Al Michaels doesn't have to talk his way into a parking lot. And I don't go, well, Al doesn't have to talk his way to this parking lot. Why are you giving me a hard time?
You never want to be that guy until you're the guy, right?
I know of one very, very prominent ESPN broadcaster who once got suspended for his behavior in a college football parking lot.
That's pretty embarrassing.
For the way he treated a parking attendant.
Did Joey Bosa get paid after his third or fourth year? I see him getting paid after the fourth year. So, I mean, it's not inconceivable that he waits.